When all the work is finished, who did you become while doing it? There's a moment that happens in almost every adult life. It usually arrives on an ordinary morning. The alarm goes off. You reach for your phone before your eyes have fully adjusted to the light. A notification, then another, an email, a calendar reminder, a message you forgot to answer, a news headline you never asked to see, and before your feet touch the floor, your mind already belongs to something else. You tell yourself this is normal, because everyone does it, because this is what adulthood looks like, because work starts soon. But somewhere underneath the routine is a feeling that's hard to describe. Not sadness, not exhaustion, something quieter. A strange distance between yourself and your own life. And most people don't notice it until years later, when they realize they've been moving for a very long time, without ever feeling like they arrived anywhere. Work has always demanded effort, but something about modern work feels different. Not harder, just stranger, because the relationship between work and survival has changed. For most of human history, effort created visible outcomes. You planted crops. You built shelter. You made tools. You could see your labor transforming the world around you. Today, millions of people spend entire days moving information between screens, sending messages, updating spreadsheets, joining meetings, managing systems that manage other systems. At the end of the day, they feel tired. Yet, many struggle to explain what they actually accomplished. And the brain notices this contradiction. Human motivation evolved around visible progress. Neuroscientists often describe dopamine not as a reward chemical, but as a prediction system. Your brain wants evidence that effort matters. That action changes reality. That movement creates meaning. But modern work often hides that connection. You spend 8 hours solving problems you never physically touch. You improve metrics nobody remembers. You help companies you'll never meet. You contribute to goals that rarely feel personal. Disconnection. The strange feeling of spending most of your waking life serving objectives that don't feel connected to your own existence. The salary arrives. The bills get paid. Life continues. Yet a question begins forming in the background. What exactly am I doing all this for? At first, salary seems like the answer. You imagine a number, a future version of yourself earning more, and you believe that number will finally create peace. Maybe it's 30,000, maybe 60,000, maybe 100,000, maybe much more. The number changes. The promise stays the same. If I reach that salary, everything will make sense. Then you reach it, and something unexpected happens. Your problems change, but they don't disappear. The worker earning very little often experiences anxiety, the constant mental burden of survival. Every purchase becomes a calculation. Every emergency becomes a threat. Money dominates attention because scarcity dominates attention. But when income rises, a different problem appears. You stop worrying about survival and begin worrying about identity, because once basic needs are covered, the mind starts asking more dangerous questions. Who am I? What matters? Why doesn't success feel the way I imagined? Psychologists sometimes call this the arrival fallacy, the belief that reaching a goal will permanently transform emotional experience. But human beings adapt astonishingly fast. The dream apartment becomes normal. The promotion becomes routine. Again, people often imagine higher salaries creating freedom. Sometimes they do, but they also create obligations, expectations, social comparisons, new definitions of success. The person earning 40,000 compares themselves to 60. The person earning 60 compares themselves to 100. The person earning 100 compares themselves to 200. And the person earning 200 wonders why they still feel restless. Because comparison has no finish line. There's always another life, another city, another career, another person who appears happier than you. Especially now, because for the first time in human history, billions of people carry a comparison machine in their pocket. Every scroll introduces another version of success, another vacation, another achievement, another perfectly edited life. The brain was never designed for this. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans compare themselves to small tribes, perhaps a few dozen people. Today, comparison operates on a planetary scale. Your nervous system experiences thousands of social signals every day, most of them artificial, most of them impossible to process, and yet your brain treats them as real. The result isn't inspiration, it's overstimulation, a constant flood of information that never becomes wisdom, a constant awareness of opportunities that never become fulfillment, a constant sense that life is happening somewhere else. Many people don't realize how much this affects work, because work no longer ends when work ends. The office follows you home through notifications, messages, emails, group chats, project updates, performance dashboards. Your body leaves work. Your mind doesn't. The boundary disappears. And when boundaries disappear, recovery disappears. This creates a strange modern phenomenon. People who are technically resting while remaining psychologically active, sitting on a couch, scrolling endlessly, feeling exhausted, not because they're doing too much, but because they're never fully stopping. The brain needs transitions, moments where one identity ends and another begins. Worker, friend, partner, parent, human being. But digital life blends everything together. Every role exists simultaneously. Every responsibility remains partially active, and the nervous system never receives a clear signal that it is safe to relax. This is where loneliness enters the story. Not the loneliness of being physically alone, the loneliness of existing around people without feeling known by them. Workplaces become crowded, cities become crowded, feeds become crowded. Yet many people feel increasingly invisible because visibility and connection are not the same thing. You can be surrounded by communication while starving for understanding. You can spend all day talking without feeling heard. Disconnection you can enter as a survival problem because for most of human history, isolation was dangerous. Humans survived through belonging, through tribes, families, communities, shared purpose. Now, many people spend their days surrounded by strangers and algorithms, connected to everyone, known by almost no one, and work often becomes a replacement, the place where identity lives, the place where purpose lives, the place where self-worth lives, which sounds harmless until something changes. A layoff, a restructuring, an economic downturn, an unexpected email. Suddenly the thing carrying your identity disappears, and the question returns. Who am I without my job? For a growing number of people, this question feels terrifying because modern culture increasingly teaches individuals to introduce themselves through productivity. What do you do? What do you earn? What have you achieved? How successful are you? Notice how rarely people ask different questions. What fascinates you? What do you love? What makes you feel alive? What kind of person are you becoming? Somewhere along the way, achievement became identity, and identity became fragile, because achievement can always be taken away. The consequences extend beyond individuals. They shape entire societies. When millions of people feel disconnected from their work, disconnected from each other, and disconnected from themselves, something larger begins to emerge. A culture of emotional exhaustion, not dramatic collapse, not visible crisis. Something quieter, a gradual erosion of meaning. People become more informed than ever before, yet often feel less certain. More connected than ever before, yet often feel more alone. More productive than ever before, yet often feel more empty. The contradiction grows. And eventually many begin asking the same question. If technology was supposed to save time, why does everyone feel rushed? If prosperity was supposed to create happiness, why does everyone seem exhausted? If connection was supposed to eliminate loneliness, why does loneliness feel everywhere? The answers are complicated, but perhaps they begin with a simple realization. Human beings were never meant to function as endless production systems. We are not machines. We are meaning-making creatures. We need goals, but we also need belonging. We need achievement, but we also need purpose. We need information, but we also need silence. We need connection, but we also need presence. Somewhere beneath every salary level, every promotion, every career path, this truth remains unchanged. The person earning very little and the person earning a great deal often share the same hidden desire. Not more money, not more status, not even more success. They want their life to feel real again. They want to feel connected to something larger than productivity, to wake up without immediately disappearing into obligations, to spend time with people who know them beyond their job title, to remember that existence is not a performance. That worth is not measured exclusively by output, that being alive and being useful are not the same thing. Perhaps the deepest tragedy of modern work isn't that it asks so much from us. It's that it sometimes convinces us to forget who we are outside of it. And perhaps the deepest form of wealth has never been money at all. Perhaps it is the ability to remain human in a world constantly asking you to become